So he got there, found his way into the chambers, no light, nothing, had a what he called a plenary session, which appeared to me like the biggest joke in history. And the question I kept asking anybody who called me, the question I kept asking anybody around me is, what did Obasa want to achieve by yesterday's action? I wish I could be a fly in the wall in his head and now be with him this morning looking at all the videos at what happened, and I would like to ask, did he feel he was successful and at what? Remember that the gentleman had done the gentlemanly thing by going to the courts. Indeed, there's a session in court this morning. His case being led by my good friend Fashanu, who is an SCN. They're in court this morning. He didn't, like a lawyer said yesterday, he didn't even wait for the court to decide. He decided to go for self-help. Is that a good example to the people and younger ones? I'd leave that with you to judge. So he went in and then said, I'm back, did all the razzmatazz. At the same time, the 32 members out of 36 were cocooned somewhere else, and they kept insisting that he is not their speaker. And I said to myself, I can't make out in all honesty what he wanted to achieve. But it became more curious when the news filtered through these SMSs and WhatsApp, and that the security detail of Miranda had been withdrawn by the police. I said, what? Even as this former speaker, she's entitled to protection. Even as a former speaker, let's say all is unwrapped, she has to be protected for a very long time because of the position. And I said, who was it done by? They said the commissioner of police has addressed a kind of press conference and said that, it was that there was what did he call it now?
A routine audit.
A routine audit
of the details.
A routine audit that denies Miranda protection and offers Obasa double protection. Come on. You see, professionals have to be very, very careful. If you allow these politicians to rubbish you and your career, you pay dearly for it for the rest of his life. If 10 years from now, I'm just thinking, the gentleman wants to apply for a visa and is in a high ranking, and based on what has happened, because the world is not, this is not going to go unnoticed. He is denied the visa. I will be wondering why, because we would have forgotten. Not just that. When he attends, when as a professional you attend the conference of policemen, Commonwealth police and that, and these kind of things come up, I'm sure the CP will be embarrassed. We must, and I pity him. I pity him. I have a lot of pity for him finding himself in this kind. I'm sure it must have been a downer for him. The number 3 citizen politically. You leave that person without protection. Okay, so when you left her without protection, what if something had happened? What if something had happened? So it's all a bit of a big mess. Of course, I don't believe that story about some audits. The police situation is very bad at this moment. The politicians have messed it up. Even musicians have 2, 3. I mean, so let's leave that. Let's leave that as it is. The question now is that we are now in some kind of stalemate, I believe. And the only person who can resolve this very quickly is the president. There's no point saying he knows, he doesn't know, he's not. No, let's go there. Let's look at ourselves eye to eye and tell ourselves the truth. Either the president summons all these people to Abuja, they sit down and resolve it there once and for all, or he comes down to Lagos to come and solve this problem. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, and there is no telling which way it would go from here. Nobody, because I did the round of my phone calls and everything. There is no telling which way it is go from here, because more egos are being bruised and it's becoming more complex and difficult. To Obasa, I say, sir, you are a lawyer, you are a speaker, you are an adult, you are a parent. You should have waited for the court to make its decision. And I can tell you, sir, I need to be convinced that there was any sense in what happened yesterday. I need to be convinced. Maybe you have, but I need to be convinced. More so when you have done the gentlemanly thing by going to court. If you claim that all you want is for it to be properly done, you have seen that majority of your colleagues don't want you, but that, you want it properly done, you did the most sensible thing. You got a son to go to court, get judgment. You've been speaker for 10 years, get judgment. Your name would have been good in history. I will want to see where all this is going to lead. Heaven help us all. Again, is beyond calling on any GAC or whatever now. I would like to call on the president that your legacy hands on this. You've achieved what you wanted in life. You are now the president. What you should be racing for, what you should be living for day in, day out is your legacy. Because now it might not appear important. Later, when you feel like writing your own book, when you feel like writing your own book, I wonder what are the things you would like to put down. At that time, it will matter to you. It might not matter now. It might all be about power. We don't have time to go into all the nuances of it. But I plead with him to please step into this matter and nip it in the bud. This is not the Lagos I was born into. This is not the Lagos state I have lived in all my life. More painful, at a time when the state government itself had stepped up its actions. But whether you like it or not, we've come to admit that there's been a lot of development in Lagos. This issue now, is a complete downer. Honestly, it's a complete downer. I'd like to refer to the headline in the Punch where the speaker is quoted to have said, front page lead of the Punch says, I'm loyal to Tinubu, but my actions are mine. Honorable Obasa, all your political actions, you should take into cognizance how your principle will be affected. Just like when you take decisions and say, I would have done this, but for this. What you have done, sir, has not placed President Tinubu in good light. And it will be sad if you allow yourself to be used by the devil locally to smear the legacy that he would leave behind. Even if he goes in 2027, all things must come to an end. He has a full page interview in the Punch for those who might be willing to read that. So let's see how it goes. It's an unfolding drama. Unfortunately, there's no newspaper review tomorrow, so we don't know.
So it's interesting. But all I can say to all those of you in Lagos is welcome to the show.
Because of Port Harcourt. No, it shouldn't be happening.
We had it.
You see, if it happens in Lagos, it gets a lot of world attention. Forget about Abuja being the capital. It's like saying something that happens in New York, in America, is very, very significant compared to other states. And just like I said, it appears as if we cannot supervise ourselves. We've been set free by the colonialists, but we have not freed ourselves. What is all this fight about? A man has been speaker for 10 years, 32 out of 36 say they don't want him. He wants to prove a point. He has done the right. He has done the common sense thing by going to court, and now smears it with this one. It's very sad.
Uncle Jimmy, you said Obasa did the gentlemanly thing by going to court, but I'm sure Obasa knows, like all good politicians know, that politics is not for gentlemen. Like Fela said, I don't be gentleman at all.
Which is sad. If we then allow people who don't consider themselves gentlemen to lead us, where does that leave us? Where does that leave us?
So even the man on top of the free world.
I don't want to be led by indisciplined people. The implications are far and wide. The implications are far and wide. What example are we setting for the younger people?
But he's fighting for his political life.
So you might as well tell the students, those in universities, to behave like this and fight for their life.
Well, that's politics.
No.
Oh,
we should take this in seriously. This can lead to disruption in any good society.
So you also say the president's legacy is on the line. I'm curious, where does he stand in all of this? Who is he supporting? What's his stance?
I don't know. He should come and solve the problem. I can't read his mind. But to say that he doesn't know anything about this, I don't believe so. And he's the only one who has the magic wand. I am more interested in the resolution of this crisis than any other thing.
So if you look at what the DSS did, sorry to interject, please.
Yes.
And you look at what the police CP has done, this thing called order from above is what can go above and beyond even the powers in the state. Talking about His Excellency the Governor, and reading the body language of the governor and where he stands in all of this. So which power that be would have emboldened the CP to do what it did? Would have emboldened the DSS to do what they did?
Only the CP can answer that question.
Is it Abuja?
He makes it look as if he took the decision, so he's carrying the can. But in reality, anybody with anything between their 2 ears knows the way these things go. However, when you are giving instructions sometimes, you have to sit back and think. Think in such a way that you even protect the person who gave you that instruction. Do you understand what I'm saying? People, you always be, even in our own job as journalists. I remember in my newspaper days, sometimes you are given an instruction by maybe the publisher or whatever. You have to sit back and think and find the best way to handle this. If you had to go for an audit, couldn't you get temporary replacement, even your own guards, to go guard the speaker until the ones who went for the audit come back? Or do we want another Balaige issue here? You remember when Balaige was one that all his security detail went to eat at the same time? And so it becomes curious, but one has to apply some maturity not to expand this thing beyond asking for the resolution. Do you really think I don't have more questions to ask on this? If we begin to stretch it, only God knows where it will end. All we want now is we want a resolution to this crisis, and I believe the only person who has all that it takes to bring this to a halt is the president.
All right, we go over to the next page, this time still back to the Vanguard. Court stops police from arresting man over marital issues. Court stops police from arresting man over marital issues.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly highlight this. And again, this is a police matter. Plead with the police that this idea of somebody writing a petition and that the accused gets arrested immediately, I think is unfair. It doesn't do the police any good. It's not good for the dispensation of justice. And so if somebody writes a petition, invite whoever it is and take your time to examine the issues. I'm not talking about this particular case. This one just gives me an opportunity to appeal one. And why I also highlighted this story is in line with what happened yesterday. Okay, policing needs a review. The act of policing in Nigeria needs a serious review. Once you want to lock somebody up, just write a petition on threat to life. That other person is going to be arrested. I don't think that's the way to go. Which is as far as the story itself concerned, it's not that important. But just to appeal to those, hopefully one day we'll have a police force that Nigerians will be proud of. As it is now, the way we are going, we're almost making the police the enemy of the people, which shouldn't be.
All right, still with the Vanguard, FCCPC to MultiChoice. Suspend subscription hike.
Okay, so MultiChoice have a product. It's not food, it's not anything, it's a bit of a luxury product. Most as it involves the translation of information. There are so many free-to-air stations, there are so many options for people. I don't know why the FCCPC keeps harping on this MultiChoice as if it's a life-saving matter. There are other, and also remember, you keep saying that you want to make the environment good for businesses to thrive. You want foreign investors and so on and so forth. I something tells me it might not necessarily be the way to go. As far as I'm concerned, one, multi-choice have very good reasons for everybody has to increase that. Even there's a story here that says that electricity itself is still going to go up. So why should multi-choice be any different? As far as I'm concerned, if you can't afford their services, let go. You have other alternatives. So I don't know where the fuss is coming from. A lot of what is shown on multi-choice, if you can buy data, you can go out on YouTube and things like that. So what is the big fuss about? It's beginning to appear political. I would say the FCCPC, what's their name again? Federal Competition and Consumer, I had hearing of them in recent times for the first time. They should focus more on the things that affect our lives directly. The prices of food, medicals, not to something to watch movies and whatever. It's a matter of choice. And like I said, there is nobody that is operating any business now that hasn't had to increase its tariffs or whatever. So let's get more serious and stop making political. There's no big deal about multi-choice. Now you've told them to suspend their hikes. How are they going to cover their overheads till you make up your mind that whatever their subscription is what you think Nigerians should be paying? Leave these things to market forces. If people don't want multi-choice, they can go somewhere else.
Well, they can't go anywhere else for Premier League, though. Because
it's not a matter of life and death to watch the Premier League. You should be concerned about pharmaceuticals. The cost of drugs have gone up almost 3 or 4-fold. The cost of food, tinned food, canned food, prepared food, fresh food is going up. Concentrate on those areas. The multi-choice is a luxury.
Private company.
It's a luxury.
All right. Let's move on to the comment in today's Vanguard. They're looking at Ramadan and caption there, Ramadan beyond the fasting.
Please, I think Ramadan starts today, which means that the prayers will be said this evening. It's called Asham. We call it Ashamu, but I'm sure that's not what it's. Ashamu will be the Yoruba version of it, yes. So Ramadan, effectively by tomorrow. Maybe that is why Sheriff is not here. Has he gone undercover? He doesn't want to fast for 30 days. We should go and root him out. No, Sheriff has been a bit under the weather, and we wish him well. Yeah. I spoke to him yesterday, and he said his voice was very clear. But I hope he's not gone into hiding because of...
So don't follow the voice, oh. Okay, anyway, I would have said something, but no. Let me not say it.
Don't say it. Sheriff, get well soon. I look forward to seeing you next week. So what the Vanguard says here is that an important lesson of Ramadan. Now, this message is for both Muslims and non-Muslims. The fact that you are not fasting or you are not a Muslim doesn't mean this message is not for you. It says an important lesson of Ramadan is that it's a leveler amongst Muslims. I wish the society itself was leveled. We didn't have the high and we didn't have the low. But we have a problem with distortion in our own society here. There are the very rich and the very poor. Very few in between. The very rich oppress the poor in all manner possible. Convoy, all kinds of things. Now you go to parties, you see the VIPs. One VIP is surrounded by about 5 people on his own chair. You will sit down and eat all what you want to eat, drink champagne, drink whiskey, whatever. Your security details who surround you will be looking at you, and yet you feel comfortable. Oh, somebody said they would have provided for them. Yes, they will give them food in plastic bags to go home. And you feel comfortable. I wonder, let's always stop to think. Let's always stop to think. Yeah, sitting down there eating a 50, 60,000 naira meal. And the man behind you is giving a meal of 1,000. And you think that the money you give him, you pay him, will assuage his mind towards you. Lend yourself a brain, my brothers and sisters. An important level of Ramadan is that it's a leveler amongst Muslims. The high and mighty in the society, as well as the wealthy ones, are enjoined to fast in order to feel what the less privileged go through every day. The big man in Nigeria doesn't want to feel what he doesn't want to feel, even if he came from there. He wants to show the man down there that he ain't got nothing. They are also made to part with more of their bounties for the benefit of the poor. Remember that Dangote dropped his fuel prices. He claimed, also in the spirit of Ramadan. The notice we saw yesterday. Yes. And it says Nigerians have been made to go through a lot of ordeals, mainly as a result of government's acts of commission and omission. Bad governance has bred insecurity and violent crimes all over the country. So, our leaders should do more to improve the quality of governance and reduce hunger. They should invest more in security, agri, provide economic relief for the productive sectors, and so on and so forth. All religions, all Nigerians rather, irrespective of their religious persuasions, should always pray for our military personnel fighting terrorists, bandits, armed headsmen, and kidnappers. We wish all Muslims the best in this month of Ramadan.
Amen. The editorial of today's Punch is on page 22. The second one there, IG's tenure extension controversy.
Okay, yes, this is again the police. I don't know what it is with the police. You all know the controversy about the extension of the IG's tenure. And the Punch editorial says that a situation akin to a mutiny is already brewing in the force, with reports of dissatisfaction within the top hierarchy. We shouldn't ignore this. The amendment had met with steep opposition from the Minister of Police Affairs, Police Service Commission,